Hello. Just gonna add in my friend Ash, who is interviewing me. I'm excited for the workshop that I'm doing at the upcoming Bloom Festival in the Northern Rivers.
Oh,
Ash
hello,
has just
hello.
joined. Hi.
Looks like my camera's backwards. Probably know how to deal with this. Never had it show up
There
backwards
should be
before.
like a little flip. There's a little flip button. Um,
I see it.
yeah,
There we go.
there we go. There's your face. Hi.
Hey, darling.
Oh, this is exciting. I feel like a lot of,
Yeah.
excitement, energy in my body. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm here with Ash, who is the director of Bloom Festival, a festival that's coming up in July in the Northern Rivers in our beautiful community on that land. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a workshop there. So we're here to chat about that today and yeah, just have a chat. So yeah, welcome, Ash. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Grace. Thanks for having me on your
Hmm.
channel.
Hmm.
I'm super excited about Bloom. 4 days of fun and dance and celebration and community and connection, and also like really deep, potent embodiment workshops
Hmm.
and moments of like real authenticity and connection.
Hmm.
Um, and I have the pleasure of Grace. I get to interview you today about
Hmm.
the workshop that you're offering. Grace is a somatic coach and facilitator, for those of you who don't know. And we're going to talk today about your workshop, Grace. We're going to unpack the details and the richness behind why you're offering what you're offering. Um, and I'm going to start off by reading the description of your workshop because it's quite poetic, it's quite
Cool.
beautiful, and I think it's going to set us up for a really deep conversation about
Hmm.
what it really takes to embody Eros.
Hmm.
Um, I'll read this description. Eros is the magnetic life force that's connected to creation and moves through all living things. If your life force is blocked, suppressed, or stagnant, you may feel anxiety, depression, boredom, or disconnection.
Hmm.
When your body is open and flowing, Eros can move through you naturally, so you will be more magnetic and attract the things in your life that you desire, such as relationships, pleasure, money, creativity, and other things. Awakening Eros is an embodied workshop which guides you to opening your body, releasing stuck energy, and activating your life force so that you can feel the liberation of life moving through you.
Hmm.
We'll be exploring different ways to arouse your body through breath, sound, movement, touch, connecting with your animal, and dancing. This is a practice which you can do every morning to start your day in your body, in your juice, and feeling radiant. Yeah, I mean, that
Yum.
covers really the bases. That says everything we need to know, right?
So good because I wrote that like a couple of months ago, when I was excited about applying for it and like now to tune back in with the language is really, it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Grace, I'm curious why you picked this workshop. Like, why is this stuff so important to you?
Mm. Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind when you ask that question is this feeling of like disconnect that I know that I've experienced myself and that a lot of people in this world experience is like a disconnect from our bodies and a disconnect from our essence of who we are. And one way to tap into that is through our erotic current and through our erotic energy. And so for me, this has been like so profound in my own journey of like coming more into my truth and my essence and who I am, and really like coming down into myself so that then my external world then becomes a reflection of that. And it really is a daily practice for me, of embodying whatever's here, whatever's alive, whatever's moving, and that's Eros. It's this current of energy that's forever changing and moving through us. So it's been really, really potent and healing for me to tap into every day as I do. And yeah, I really want to share this as like a foundational piece for people to be able to use as well in their everyday life. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I've certainly had my own journey with Eros and awakening my Eros,
Mm.
and um, and it's been a profound shift for me as well.
Mm.
And it's
Mm.
really helped me discover my needs and my boundaries and my desires and my excitement, like all the feeling based
Yes.
self-awareness and self-connection pieces have just dropped in through the Eros practices. So it's a real gift that you're bringing us. Um,
Mm.
I'm
Nice.
I'm curious, Grace, about who this workshop is right for. Like, what kinds of people
Mm.
come to this workshop?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this workshop will be like, as I was saying, like a foundational piece. So even if you haven't really had any experience in, like, the word eros and things like tantra and things like that can, I guess, maybe have this association with like maybe going straight into pleasure or doing a self-pleasure practice or something like that. But really it's quite a foundational embodiment practice. And so you don't need to necessarily have any experience. But basically anyone that's feeling like they want to connect in more with themselves and connect in more with their body and get more familiar with their aliveness and what's moving through them, and build tools to do that in their lives. I think this is the beauty of this festival, is this hub of embodiment that we have in the Northern Rivers, that people can come to receive transmissions and tools and experiences to take with their life. So anybody that's really looking for, yeah, some foundational practices that they can do in their daily life to connect in more with their body, and then that just like organically will connect them in with their pleasure as well. It's like feeling whatever's there, if there are emotions or if there are blocks, or even if there's not, if there's just like, waking up with pleasure, or different kind of experiences, like whatever is there is the gateway to feeling more of yourself and feeling more connected with yourself. So yeah, anyone who's yearning for some more of that in their lives is, yeah, going to be perfect for you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm curious about your personal experience with these practices and
Mm.
how they've changed your life. Um, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm really curious about, before you started doing these daily practices, what are some of the challenges that you experienced, that these challenges supported you to overcome?
Mm. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So the first question, like, I guess the why, why did I come into this? And I really was in a place of disconnect from myself, from my body, and particularly from my pleasure, and hadn't really had an orgasm until like my late 20s. And so I went on this like discovery journey of like, I kind of just got to a point where I was like fed up with the disconnect. It was like just becoming this thing that was just there constantly, that I was aware of, but I guess, avoiding a little bit in a way. And then I just got to a point where I was like, I can't avoid this anymore. And the psychological practices like going and seeing therapy, or talking or reading, just weren't really getting me to where I needed to be. And so I felt drawn into embodiment because I had trauma, some sexual trauma and other things that I was working through, but really the trauma was held in my body. So it wasn't until I started to go down and doing this work was when I actually felt the liberation and started doing the healing of the deep trauma that was in my body. And still I'm working through that. It's like, it's not necessarily that we just come to a place where everything's healed. It's like, once you start doing this work, it starts to become, yeah, as it is now, a part of my daily practice. So it's connecting me more with my body, with my pleasure, with my orgasm, but also really supported me with anxiety. I've experienced that a lot over the years, and it's shown up in different ways of being really busy in the mind and then having like panic attacks, but also scheduling my life and organizing my life into being like really full and busy and a little bit kind of all over the place, and also being quite like a partier as well at some stages of my life. And so all of these like this practice has supported me in feeling more grounded in myself, feeling more connected to myself, and knowing when I feel disconnected. So like starting to be able to track, like, when do I feel off and not in myself and not with what's moving for me, and then knowing how I can come in and take a moment to come down and be with my body and use my breath or have a dance or give myself some loving touch and move whatever it is that the anxiety is kind of wanting me to avoid, or I'm avoiding by keeping myself really busy, or yeah, you know, with the orgasm and with the pleasure. These practices help me to move the things that are stuck, like the memories, the wounding, the emotions, mostly related to the trauma that's stuck in the way of me feeling the pleasure. So the more that I work through moving motions and aliveness through my body, the more pleasure I feel, the more joy I feel, the more intimacy I feel with myself and with others. So it's really supported, yeah, my mental health, my connection with my body, expanding my pleasure. And then, yeah, this piece that I feel Eros really connects us to, which is truth of who we are as well. So I feel like I've come into this like knowing of who I am and keep discovering that. And as I was saying earlier, like everything just starts to become a reflection of that. The people that I attract into my life, the work that I attract, the beautiful homes, the community, the people like yourself, you know, it's like everything becomes a reflection of what we're able to hold in our bodies. And so the embodying our Eros and embodiment practice expands our capacity to feel and to hold and to magnetize what we're aligned with. I can
Yeah,
keep going.
gorgeous. Nice. Um, there's a few things that I'm picking up that are pretty universal constants in the people who I've seen, and in myself as well, in our culture really, is that like we're taught to find soothing and stillness. And I just got a notification. There we go. We're taught to find soothing and stillness by looking outside of ourselves and finding activities that regulate us, like work or partying or having order in our schedule. We find ourselves soothed by them. But at some point, those soothing activities become dysfunctional. It's like there's only so much you can fit in your calendar, and there's only so much partying you can do, and there's only so much sex you can have, and like these like self-soothing practices become out of balance. And so we like, okay, how can I find a way to care for myself that is really sustainable and really nourishing long term? And what I'm hearing is like you've found that in these somatic practices, in these self-pleasure practices, in these Eros practices, and you found a really deep, nourishing, sustainable way that helps you step out of these behaviors and have much more freedom of choice over how you relate to the world.
Yes, 100%. The sovereignty in knowing ourselves and what we need. And like this is the piece that you kind of get to eventually, I think, with when you start to become more aware of yourself and you start doing a little bit of work and you start to realize that all these things that I'm trying to fill myself with or consume or distract myself and self-soothe, like you say, are all things that are like outside of me. But actually the answer is always in us, you know? And even when we're working in a workshop, or even when you're working with a facilitator or a teacher, like really good teachers will invite you to find the answer within and find, because only you can know, you know, what it is that you need and what's going to soothe you and what's going to support you. But our bodies and our Eros is like there's a conversation and relationship that we can start to build with knowing what we need and knowing what we actually need to self-soothe. Like when you start to tune in with your body and maybe you notice that it's like some anxiety that needs you to dance, you know, or it needs you to meditate, you know, or it needs you to do yoga, or it needs to have a conversation, and you start to tune in with what your needs are, and then you can maybe like outsource if it's needed, you know, and go and ask for support. But from that place of like deep awareness of yourself and your body and like what you're needing. Yeah. And so this practice and embodiment and somatic work really gets you to be super like in tune. The more that you do that is like this fine tune awareness of yourself, that like no one else is experiencing what you're experiencing inside of you, you know. Nobody can tell you what that is. So that's like where the real work is like discovering yourself from that place of truth and sovereignty. Yeah.
Yeah, beautifully put, beautifully put. And in my experience, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
That's where we see all these activities that we're engaging in that are essentially just pacifiers that are wasting a lot of energy. And then if we really drop in and we let go of the pacifiers and find that strength within ourselves, we can take 1/10 of the action and get 10 times the results.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we're really seeing clearly, not from a state of agitation and fear, but from a state of grounded presence.
Totally. And that's where I'm glad that you brought this in as well, because I'm also really passionate about working with the nervous system in these pieces. And, you know, coming from this awareness of the body and of self and what we need, with also the mindfulness of the nervous system and not over pushing ourselves or overexerting ourselves, noticing when I'm in like a freeze or a fight response. And yeah, so doing these things like from a really grounded place, which requires like spaciousness and slowness. And so when you start to realize that you don't need all of these things outside to fill your time or to distract or to fill a void, then you get to start to create the spaciousness to really be in that grounded space with yourself. Yeah.
I find it takes a lot of discipline to maintain a daily practice. And it's like, I can hear the person listening being like, oh yeah, I know that's good for me, but like, I'm probably not going to do it. Yeah. Like, how do you create habits out of this stuff so that it becomes a part of your life?
Yeah. It's funny you say that. It's like, I'm still working on it too. Like I show up every single day, but I think the piece for me that's been really important is to show up, but not have any expectation on what that looks like or what that might be or how it's going to feel. So every day I do some kind of embodiment and some kind of like mindfulness practice. So that could be self-pleasure, it could be dance, it could be just be tuning in with my heart, and then usually it's like some sort of like meditation or a journaling practice. So I try to look at like having, you know, that balance of like the feminine and the masculine in my daily practice. But yeah, that's been really supportive for me in being able to show up, because I also get like, I don't know, I get a bit sick of doing the same thing every day. So I make sure that I show up in a way that's like I'm addressing the needs and this balance within myself, but I'm not putting this pressure on it to look a particular way. And even with my meditations, like I love Tara Brach and I do her meditations quite a lot, but I always do like a different one. I don't, you know, always do the same thing. So there's like there's that muscular kind of container of like I'm showing up for my morning, and maybe it's just 20 minutes or whatever it is, but always showing up. But how that actually looks and feels every day can be different. So it brings this variety and spontaneity. And that also gives me an opportunity to tune in with like what I'm needing. Because it might just be like, actually, I just want to do yoga nidra this morning and just like lay on the floor and, so yeah, but it does
Good.
require, yeah, but yeah, either way it does require that like place of discipline to show up. Yeah. Yeah. And then also like compassion, when we fall off. Like I think the self critic can be the
Yeah.
worst, then the shame can be like the worst part of like preventing us actually from making change, because then we're like super hard on ourselves, like, oh fuck, I didn't show up, or like I had some days off, or I did this, and it's like, oh okay, I had a couple of days off, or I missed last week, or like how do I just take the gifts of that experience and find my yes and find my why for doing this, and just like come back and just keep coming back. And that's also like embodiment. And we do dance, and I think we were having this conversation the other night, is like it's just a practice of continuing to come back and not shaming ourselves when we disconnect or when we leave or when we don't show up, but continuing to come back builds this muscle of like, oh yeah, I came back today, or yeah, I came back into my body, or I came back into this presence with this person. And that, I think, is the practice, is like continuing to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous. Not getting stuck in the story of failure or whether or not you
Totally.
succeeded, and just making a moment by moment choice to show up as best as you can in this moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So, in this workshop that you're going to deliver at Bloom, what will people leave with? What will they get from this experience?
Yeah, they'll leave with tools on how to, everything that we've been speaking to around embodiment and around self connection and opening the Eros, on how to do that for yourself in a way that feels good and true for you. And so that's like, I guess, what they'll take away with them from the festival, but also on the day of the festival. So I'm doing one of the morning classes, and this is a really powerful way to, as I do, start my day, because when you roll out of bed, like from your tent, and you just come and see me and come into the workshop space. And sometimes when you wake up, this is why I do a lot of these practices first thing in the morning, when you wake up and like the mind's really busy and maybe there's like, yeah, different things running, you get a chance to like drop in to yourself and to your body and open up your aliveness, your eros, and then that's going to just help you to feel more connected to yourself and your body throughout the festival, which is obviously going to support you in, like you were saying before, Ash, in knowing your needs and your boundaries and where you're at. But it's just going to open you to more of the festival, so you can receive more of it with yourself and with others, with the nature. Like you're just going to be more connected and alive and aware. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And another thing that I love about these embodiment practices, like Eros awakening practices, is that it creates a lot of permission for every emotion. Um,
Yes.
and often when I'm stuck, when you're stuck in life, it's because you're not given permission, or it's not
Yeah.
safe enough to feel a feeling. So we get locked down in a particular way of being that avoids that feeling. Whereas with the Eros practices, it's not just about sex, it's about feeling and life force and energy, and allowing it all to run through you, all the different flavors. And
Yeah.
so we unlock these blocked emotions and we can feel everything, and the labels of negative and positive around emotion can be taken away, and we can just feel, and it's ecstatic. And ecstasy isn't just about joy, it's about enjoying all the flavors of feeling and all the flavors of sensation. And when we hit that ecstatic state, there's a liberation of energy. It's like, oh,
Yes.
hello.
Yes.
And that might come through grief or pain or
Mm,
sadness or joy or pleasure or hunger or fear, or like it really opens us up. And then suddenly the things that feel stuck in our lives don't feel so stuck anymore. It's like, oh, I can
mm,
feel them. I can go there. I can make that choice. I
mm.
can leave that relationship. I can approach that person. I can ask for that raise. I can start that business because I'm letting my feeling move through me. Um,
Mm.
and I see
Yes.
you as someone who's leading
Mm,
in that space.
mm,
And to the broader goals of the festival, like this 4 day container is an opportunity where you get to taste lots of different ways of being. You get to taste the grace, you get to taste the Danny, you get to taste the whoever. There's so
mm,
many different deep, potent ways of being that we get to experience in the world.
mm,
And then you get to try on what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and you get to like think about, how can I bring that into my life and create a new way of being that is in deeper alignment with your core values. And you
mm,
get to go out energized with more clarity and take action in a more potent, alive, aligned, true way for you.
mm,
So thank you for being a reference point
mm,
for the people in this festival to experience a new way of being or deepen into a way of being that they've already
mm,
experienced. Thank you for being a leader in our community.
mm. Ah, thank you. That was so beautifully said. Wow. Yeah, really glad that you spoke to like all of the waves of the like of Eros, you know, and the different like ways that it can show up because it's like, yeah, sometimes it will come through as painful emotions or ones that we've labeled as, like you said, bad. And really, it is like it is just all feeling moving through the body. And so the more that you come into practicing this, the less story that you have attached, and the more that it is just life moving through you. And that's a very ecstatic space to be in. And also, like a lot of the time, those emotions are the gateways into more of our pleasure and the gateway into more of our love and Eros moving through us. So yeah, love that you spoke to that piece. And yeah, I think I was saying this to you like earlier that in the Northern Rivers, we have this like really magical bubble of so many powerful, deeply embodied humans that are, you know, living and breathing this work every day. And it's not until I kind of step out of that that I realize that that's actually not the norm. So you know, I guess there's this feels like an opportunity for anyone, whether you're in the Northern Rivers or not, to come and feel that, to come and experience that, to come and, you know, receive that for yourself, because everybody has that within them. It's just that not everybody has the access, the resource to it like we do. But this is a resource, you know, this is an opportunity to come and receive that transmission. And I have no doubt it's going to awaken something in you, and then you can take that with you into your life. Mm.
Gorgeous.
Mm.
Thank you for that invitation. There is totally a culture here, like quite a unique,
Mm.
embodied,
Oops.
authentic, like a realness that
Mm.
I guess a permission to feel and for that to have dignity and celebration. And I certainly found that really empowering when I stepped into this community, and I'm excited for all the other people who get to taste it. Um,
Yeah.
if someone is considering coming to the festival, what is your message for that person?
Mm. I just feel this energy of like just really I think I said this to you earlier as well around my intention of like this is an opportunity for us to like to be in this energy together, to be in this embodiment, to be in this like joy and in this intimacy together. So if you're kind of like contemplating it and you know you've seen whether it's my socials or other people that are in this field, and you want to come and experience this work, like, yeah, there might be like this little layers of resistance around it, or uncertainty, or yeah, some like not being super sure. If you're like one of those people that's kind of on the fence, like notice that resistance that's there, and then listen in more, I guess, more deeply into like into your body and into your desires and into the opportunity that's here to come and connect and come and play with us and like have a really amazing, beautiful time. Yeah, that's really all I feel like I want to say. It's like, just come, have fun with us. It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come meet us on the dance floor.
Yeah.
That's right. It's going to be some really fun dance floors
Oh
in
my
this
gosh.
space.
So good.
Yeah. Okay, darling. I think that's pretty much all on my end. That feels
Hmm.
pretty complete. I want to give you one last chance to share anything else that you want to share. Is there anything else that you want to speak to?
Hmm. Um, I guess if anyone does feel like, curious to like just to reach out, I just feel so available for any questions or anything about the festival, about the workshop, about my work, obviously. But yeah, I just feel really open and available for you all. And really, yeah, really excited. Like the amount of energy that I felt when I came into this space, I was like, wow, this is showing me how much I care, like how excited I am about this. So yeah, just wanted to say that as well. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Mm.
Grace, are you offering, like, if people want to go deeper with you and their work with you, how can they do that?
Mm. Yeah, so I do work one-on-one and doing like mentoring, coaching containers, so that if you want to go into like a deeper dive with yourself, I do that. And I also run temples. So I've got another temple coming up in late July, a couple of weeks after the festival. And then I do like group workshops as well online, which I've got a couple coming up soon. So yeah, basically my Instagram, which we're on right now, is the best way because I always share everything through there. But yeah, if you do feel curious about one-on-one, that's like where a lot of my juice is at the moment, where I'm like really excited to put a lot of energy into that, then yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Mm.
Gorgeous.
Mm.
So you can reach out to Grace and do a deep dive with her. Or
Mm.
if you want to get a taste of Grace and me and all these other amazing people at the festival,
Come, come,
Grace is
come.
going to put the link to the festival in the
Yes.
description. Check it out. Feel if it's right for you. We would love to see you there.
Mm.
Um, and if you want a little bit of a discount, you can message Grace. She's got a little coupon code for
I
you.
do.
Send her a private message. She'll hook you up. You get a sweet deal with the connections. You and Grace at the festival.
You gave me a discount code. We're friends, right?
I think
But
that's
yeah,
how it
no,
works.
seriously, I do have that, so message me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. Okay,
amazing.
thanks,
Thanks,
Diane. Have a good
Ash.
one. Bye
Bye.
bye.